From the Berger Varsity Football House here on the campus of Lafayette College, I'm Mike Joseph. Thanks for being with us here at Signing Day Central. So excited to be here. Mike Joseph again for the Lafayette Sports Network and GoLeopards.com. And to my right is the reigning Patriot League Coach of the Year, John Troxell. John, thanks for a couple minutes. Really appreciate it. I know this is an exciting day for you and your staff.
Yeah, it's an awesome day. We're ecstatic. We're adding a great group of young men to our program, and there's so many things go into it, and so many people that helped us along the way, from our admissions people and Susan Stifel and Chris Evans and Forrest Stewart, and it's endless. So we're really appreciative of all the hard work our staff did and the people on this campus.
Well, you always talk about how it takes a village to get this thing done, and it is really from start to finish. And a lot of these kids today are the culmination of a year or more work, correct?
Yeah. We're already started on the 25 class, while we're trying to finish up the 24 class. But it's a great group of kids, like I said, that signed. And not only are they great players, just outstanding kids, and they come from great families that we're excited to welcome to our family.
And there's 19 of them today we're going to talk about, including the kids that signed earlier for you. So we're going to add a couple of those kids today. Let's turn back a little bit. And have you had a chance to actually enjoy a little bit of last year, or is it just kind of right into recruiting? I'm sure you had a chance to reflect a little bit.
Yeah, at the end you reflect a little bit, but you jump right into it. And, obviously we set a standard,
Yes.
and there's an expectation. We got a good group coming back. Guys are here working hard right now. So, for us, the next season has already started. We're underway.
Yeah, there is no off season. The bar, you certainly did set the bar high, a 9-2 record. I thought your out-of-league wins were huge. I mean, when you talk about beating Princeton and you beat Monmouth and you beat Columbia, the out-of-league wins in situations in the past, we would always say, well, maybe we got a chance here, maybe we got a chance there, but you ran off a bunch of wins against some really good football teams out of conference.
Yeah, we did. And, and the thing that we did was we didn't turn the ball over in those
That's
games,
true.
which really helped us. And they were close games. When you look at our season, we won, I think, 5 games by a touchdown or less.
Absolutely.
And you have to win the close ones. And, I think our kids played great situational football and really prepared themselves well for each and every week.
Yeah, and I think you did exactly what you thought. You ran the football well. And you did it with a quarterback that could complement that. And all of a sudden you had an offensive line that you could depend on, and you could run the football, and you could keep the football away from other teams. I thought that was huge. So offensive line, the running back, obviously Jamar was ridiculous, unbelievable. And your quarterback was really good. And everybody wants to know, how is Dean doing at this point? Because he was hurt at the end of the Delaware game last year.
Yeah, Dean's doing well. He had surgery on his ankle, and he's back training. Rehabbing, so hopefully we'll get clearance on him on March 8th, and he'll be here for spring ball, working hard and with the other guys. And Jamar Curtis is back, and we're excited about that. He was the number 2 leading rusher in the country, and so I know there were rumors about him leaving, and that's not true. So we're
and if he would have stayed, if he would have played the extra game that he missed after the Georgetown game, he's the leading rusher in the nation in FCS football.
Yeah, and I think the sky's the limit for him. I really think he could be a Walter Payton Award winner.
Yes.
And like I said, and it's a credit to the diversity that we have in our quarterback, to the job that the offensive line really did as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the offensive line was fantastic. The defense made enough plays. You got more, I think, out of the young guys up front that you thought you may have. But cohesively, I thought, Mike St. Germain did a great job with that group.
Yeah, really did. And you and I sat here a year ago talking about Jaylon Joseph and Darren Riley, saying that they could be good football players for you. We didn't know they'd be thrown into the fire that quick. But the young guys up front really did a good job.
Yeah, I thought obviously Jalen got a lot of accolades. And there were a lot of accolades. And like you said, all of that comes, do your job week in and week out, play after play, and the accolades will come. And they certainly did come for Billy. They came for Jamar. They came for yourself. They came for Dean. And they came for Jalen at the end of the season. And there's more to come. There's a lot of good players on this team that played really, really well up front, and they're young.
Yeah, and when you play for each other and you're not doing it for yourself, when your team has success, you're going to get those awards. And so, we just keep preaching to the kids, play for each other, work hard, and keep climbing the hill.
Yeah, and it's still a young team. So tell me, as we get into some of these kids, we're going to start with the offensive players in a minute. What did you target? What did you go out there and look for? What positions maybe did you feel like, hey, we need depth? And I know that's a big thing with you, is building the depth. And in the Patriot League, if you have depth, you're really going to survive in those really tough months of October and November.
Yeah, and even when we're talking now about getting into the playoffs and the depth that you need for, weeks 13, 14, 15, hopefully someday, you know, we targeted, and I always look ahead, so it's not even about what's going to happen this year. It's fast forward 2 years and what we're losing. So, you know, we return, like, for instance, we're returning our entire secondary this year. You know, we're getting AT back, we're getting Ryan Brown back, Sekou's back, you know, Gabe Du Bois is back. They all did a great job last year, but in a year they all leave. So you have to think ahead of, okay, now we have to develop guys. And there's some of these guys we're bringing in that are going to be able to play, I think, and help us, and you know, in some of our sub packages, which is pretty cool. So we're excited.
No, you should be. And obviously, go to the defense. You talk about Sekou and the way he ran that. He was such a steady force back there. I got a chance at the Princeton game to catch up with his father. He was so proud of him because he's just a good kid off the field as well. He knows how to handle himself. And when you talk to him, he just understands everything about Lafayette College, not just football. He understands everything that this school has to offer.
Yeah, there's a reason why he was a junior captain. He's the face of our program. You know, he came here as a non-scholarship kid and worked himself into being a scholarship kid, and that takes a lot of you know, a lot of hard work, and you know, it's a credit to him, really.
Yeah, and you're excited about this class, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously the speed that you're going to add, the size. Everybody talks about length. Now we're going to talk about a lot of defensive backs. We're going to talk about some offensive linemen. We're going to talk some linebackers. We're going to talk about a quarterback that you're bringing in. So it's going to be exciting, and they're from all over. Tell me a little bit about the reach you put out there before we start here. You're in North Carolina, Texas again. In Illinois has been good for you this year. Tell me a little bit about how you reached out and how your coaches were on the run all day.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of travel. You know, we still want to take care of, you know, the within 3-hour radius of Lafayette College. And, you know, so we got some guys from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. You know, we still got guys from D.C. and Maryland. You know, but again, I think for us it's really just evaluating the talent and making sure that, you know, we're getting the best player or fit for us. You know, when you look at some of the guys that we've brought in here in the past, you know, the Jamar Curtis, Eli Stewart, Dallas Holmes, Dean DeNoble, you know, they didn't have many offers out there, you know, and the kids that we're bringing in, when they get through our staff in terms of the evaluation process, they have to get a unanimous, hey, let's take this kid. So they have to go through a lot, and, you know, and a lot of research on who they are from their coaches, from their high school, you know, and that way we're bringing in great character kids as well.
And that's the next thing I bring it. We kind of don't talk a lot about the academic side of it. We talk about, can they play football? But these kids are top of their class. They're the best. They're class presidents. They're on a National Honor Society. These kids, I mean, all over the Patriot League, we should talk about it because of our graduation rate being so high. It's an incredible academic institution, and it's an endeavor that they have to take on.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And then when they get here, you look at the guys that are here and they're getting it done. You know, we had a 3.19 team GPA at the end of the semester, which is incredible for almost 100 guys. So I'm proud of the way the kids work. And, you know, we talk all the time about making it important to be here for two reasons. One is school and the other is ball.
And you've made that possible for these kids. And we talk about President Hurd and the "and" concept. I mean, has there been anybody better besides Sharita and President Hurd here on campus for you?
No, I mean, they're just tremendous. I mean, they're about the student experience. And when you're getting it done in the classroom and on the field, you know, it makes our alumni proud, and it gets people back to campus and want to be involved.
Certainly put a tear in my eye when I saw you guys celebrating down there in Bethlehem. That was wonderful. And then, like you said, setting the standard FCS playoffs and beyond. We're not just looking at the first round, we're looking beyond. So it's something to look forward to for all the Leopard fans out there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a goal of ours, so we're going to try and attain that.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about the offensive players. We're going to have 9 offensive players we're going to talk about. We're going to have 10 on defense, and then John will talk a little bit about the end about some of the players you're still adding. So this will bring the class to 19 right now, right?
That's correct.
19?
Yes, 19.
Okay, 19 guys right now, and they're from all over the place. And let's get into it. We're going to start with offense. So we're going to start with a tight end here. We're going to talk about Colby Dawson out of Tomball High School, Texas. 6'4", 225 pounds, big, athletic. Tell me what your staff and you saw in Colby.
Yeah, you know what, I mean, Colby's long, athletic, can run. He's got great athleticism to catch the ball, can separate from people. You know, at summer camp this year, you know, ran a 4.68, so he's got great speed. He's just scratching the surface of the potential that he has. You know, I mean, you know, when we get him filled out bigger and stronger, I mean, he's going to be a dominant player, we think, at this level. And you know, so he's not a one-dimensional kid. He you know, he's kind of got the Mason Gilbert, can block and catch and stretch the field. So we're really excited about him. You know, we're fired up that he's here.
Yeah, I mean, and he plays against great competition. You can see the level of football he's playing at. I noticed that he's a good inline blocker. We can see right there next to the tackle inline. He can run from the H-back, do a lot of the things that TJ is going to ask him to do. And he has the same, to me, that same feel of a Dallas Holmes and a Mason Gilbert. He actually fits what you guys are looking for. He's got the size. I mean, he's a big kid, and it's funny how he got out of Texas. This is a big kid that's going to contribute for you guys.
He was a first-team All-District kid in the highest classification in Texas, so he's played against some really good people, and like I said, we're expecting big things of him.
Yeah, all-district first team. He's also was on the track team as a sprinter,
Yep.
like you said. And when you're 6'4", 225 pounds, he's only going to get bigger, and I'm sure he's excited to get here. And it's a position that you needed to kind of upgrade a little bit from a depth standpoint.
Yeah, because even when you fast forward a year, we might only have 1 or 2 guys left in the program. So we definitely need, it was a priority for us to go out and get a couple of tight ends that can fill that void a year from now.
And I think coming into this program as a tight end, you got to see what the tight ends have done. I mean, watch a little Lafayette film from the last 2 years between you and TJ. I mean, it's a position that we need. It's a position that's used. It's now, if we get the vertical stuff going down the middle, which we did at the end of the year, using the center of the field, it can only complement Stewart and obviously the guys on the outside.
Yeah, and as you know, as a defensive guy, I mean, when you're sending in 12 personnel and you can get into 4 wideouts and you know what you're doing, it creates some problems for a defensive coordinator.
Oh, it absolutely does. It's hard to match up against, put it that way. Let's move on to a kicker here, a familiar name, Mac Dumont out of Medway High School up in Medway, Mass. Strong leg, 6 foot, 175 pounds. Just to mention, his father played here at Lafayette with me, was a year or 2 behind me, Jeff Dumont. But here's a kicker that excited you.
Yeah, you know what? So Mac came to our camp in the summer and was kicking the ball 5 yards deep in the end zone. And, it's one of those things that, we needed someone with a really strong leg. Eliminates one phase of the game in terms of your kickoff team if you can get a bunch of touchbacks and start people at 25. Obviously, when you think back even to the Delaware game, they had a big return down to the 2-yard line against us.
Right after you scored.
Yeah, so, if, you get a kid like Mac who can eliminate any returns, it puts you in good field position.
And he was a kid that was highly sought, had a lot of schools looking at him. Obviously, he had the in here at Lafayette, but at that point in time, you got to feel, do I still want to go where my old man went? Do I want to, play? But coming here and obviously sitting down and talking to you guys, this is a kid that had a lot of offers and chose Lafayette, so that's a great get.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great get for us, and it's great. Obviously comes from a great family, and they're going to be excited to welcome them back home here to Lafayette.
Great people. Like I said, strong leg, athletic, good trajectory on the field goals. I always look for that too, the trajectory. And can he put the ball on the roof here at Berger, right?
He'll be able to, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about an offensive tackle. Now, we got some young tackles in the program right now, but depth is so important. Connor Gaines, number 50 here out of the Gilman School. Great football down in Baltimore. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. Coach, what I noticed, he's got a little bit of nasty in him too, and he can get to the second level.
He does. He played both sides of the ball. He never came off the field. He finishes blocks. Yeah, he's got great length again at 6'4". He was a 2023 second-team All-State kid, and first team All-MIAA. And the MIAA and the WCAC, which we'll talk about later, are 2 big conferences for us in terms of recruiting. And Amir Crawley came from the Gilman School, and now to get Connor here is it's really exciting, and he's got a great upside to him in terms of his athleticism for an offensive tackle and the way he finishes.
And he's going to have a chance to come in here and learn from some good ones that you have out on the outside right now, and that's so important. And he's got the length. I like his feet. He reminds me of a kid that played tight end, and then you moved him to tackle because he just got too big.
Yeah. And like I said, he does. He just has that athletic side to him.
Yep.
He moves
Look at him
really,
here get to the second level, right?
Yeah, really, really well. And like I said, he reminds me of Ryder Langsdale in the sense that Ryder was a defensive kid who plays with that edge, and Connor reminds me a lot of that.
And Ryder obviously put on some weight when he got here, and now he's comfortable where he is, and he's he's obviously
300 pounds now.
He's 300 pounds, and he's one of the top tackles in FCS, as voted at the end of the year. So Connor's got a lot to look forward to coming here on campus. Another great get. Let's move on to a kid that just excites me. Ja'Kyrie, I think it is, Ja'Kyrie Henley, okay? Yes. I have him down as athlete. I don't know, you're going to have him at wide receiver, but out of Highland Springs, Virginia, 5'9", 170 pounds. You watch the film, he's the best player on the film every time I watch every game.
Yes, he was, in my opinion, their best player, and he's got incredible speed, elusiveness. He brings, anytime he touches the ball, he can go all the way.
Yep.
He took his team to a state championship. in his junior season, and then came back this year and took him to the state championship again, which unfortunately they lost. But again, just when you win, when you're 28-2 and you're the best player on the field, it's pretty good. He's an all-purpose guy. Obviously, he can help us in the return game, and just his speed is great for this league. Great for our team.
Yeah, he's got that little shake, and then he's not afraid of contact. He can watch him pick the football up here in a situation where, when I see a guy pick up a punt, I'm crazy about punts, but that right there, boom, I turned it off. I said, okay, he can return punts. And Gary's probably sitting at home thinking right now, Mike's crazy about punt returners. But when a kid does that, it shows that he has no fear, and he's back there for a reason.
Yeah, and he'll be a guy that we'll consider putting back there, as long as he can catch it and make plays. But he's just a tremendous get for us again, just really explosive and a great kid.
Home run hitter, like you said. I had a home run hitter, 4.4 speed, obviously, and that's pretty good football. I don't know much about Highland Springs. Good football down there.
Yeah, it is. In the Richmond area, and like I said, they were top in the state for a long time.
Well, Jakiri is just one of them. He just jumps off the screen. I'm telling you, he's going to be on the bus next year. Somewhere he's going to be on the bus heading to Buffalo. He's just exciting to watch. Okay, let's move on to a tight end H-back. Carson Jacoby, number 88 out of Manuka. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Manuka High School, Manuka, Illinois, 6'3", 240 pounds, big, strong, good inline blocker as well, can pull. So much I like about this kid. He can do a lot of different things. Yeah,
he's a big athlete, brings physicalness to the game. Again, he was a first-team all-district kid. He was his team captain, being an all-conference. He was offensive MVP. And a fun fact, his dad played in the NFL for the Rams and the Chiefs. His dad was a Northern Illinois guy, played out there. But again, we found him late, and he's got great athleticism for 240 pounds and can run well. So he'll fit well into what we do here offensively.
And he does a lot of the things that TJ's going to ask him to do. He's a big, strong kid. He can play the H. He can line up in line as well. You said it comes from a great pedigree with his father. He's going to be a civil engineering major. I like the way he catches the ball contested in traffic. Like, boom, just comes out, boom, hook up, little Wyoming route, turn around, bang, gets the football, gets north-south.
Yeah, exactly. The north-south thing, he never goes backward because he's big and physical, always getting the extra yards. And again, we're really excited about him as well, as we are everybody. But he makes you smile.
Yeah, all the kids I watch, I kind of look at them from, okay, how do they fit in? Are they going to be able to do the thing? So people out there that are watching and they've seen Lafayette play and they watch every game, they understand, wow, he looks like someone that we're going to be able to use and is not going to stick out. He's going to be in line. He can block. He can pull. How many times in the Lehigh game were we pulling Holmes or Gilbert from like trip wide receivers? We bring him back on the 7-yard line, kick him out, and Jamar goes right up the middle for 8-yard touchdown.
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You're trying to find guys who fit what we do, and he fits very well what we do.
He's exactly. Now, I want to talk about some local kids right now, okay?
All right.
This is where great gets me. I watched these kids all year. I've probably done 20 of the games at Nazareth High School. We're going to talk about Sean Kinney, an offensive tackle / defensive lineman / tight end / running back. He played running back up there for Tommy Falzone, carried the football. Tell me what you like so much about Sean. I know what I liked.
Oh, man, it's everything. You just love his athleticism. You love how physical he is. He tries to hurt people. He's a flat-out difference maker in our program, and again, to get a local guy of his caliber, for the local people to enjoy watching, fill the stands. He obviously he was an all-state kid. He was, I think, the lineman of the year in the EPC.
Yes, he was.
And but he can do multiple things for us. And we're going to start him on the offensive side because of need. But you're right. He could play defensive line. He could, be a guy who comes back on inside zone and kicks out a defensive end.
Oh, man. He just gets into you, and his feet, watch him right there, boom. The chest, he pops the chest up, gets back low, gets to the second level. He was a 2-time, I believe, all-state wrestling champion
he
here
was.
in the state of Pennsylvania.
3-time finalist and heading that way again this year. But again, he's a kid who, you can't ask for more in terms of a person, in terms of, his family.
Great family.
He's going to fit in so well here, and we're really excited to get him.
Yeah, when you can get a kid like that at 6'3", 290, that has those type of feet, it's just like, please give us an opportunity to get him.
Yeah, and again, you know, you talk about Lehigh Valley football. You
Yep.
know, I mean, obviously it's really good football. You know, you played in there,
Yep.
I played there. You know, he's probably one of the top 3 players in the league. You know,
He really is.
for
He's
us-
one of the top linemen I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I
mean,
believe
he
that.
really is at that level, and he's going to come in here wanting to go, and it's going to be up to you and your staff to find out where to put him, because he's going to want to be on the bus. And I love Sean. I've watched him for a long time. Like you said, great family. And Tommy Falzone obviously is a plus as well, Lafayette grad.
Yeah, Lafayette grad. And he was great through the process, and
Yep.
you know, giving us access to come over to practice sometimes and watch the kids. So we've done our homework as much as we could on those guys, because they're right here. And we spent a lot of time. You know, Coach Ballman spent a lot of time.
Yep.
Coach Roeder spent a lot of time. Myself, and
Yep.
like I said,
And they were here on campus many times. I saw them at a lot of games.
yeah,
and stuff.
they were at 3 or 4 games,
Yeah.
and you know, now they get to put on the uniform and be here for all of them.
Absolutely. It's got to be exciting for them. Get through their senior year. I'm sure they're pumping and getting rolling. We're going to, again, another kid from Nazareth here, Mason Keener. Mason is a 5'11", 170-pound wide receiver. Do it all. Played quarterback when Tommy's son went down. Went in, threw for 150 yards, ran. I mean, this kid's got elusive. He's got 10.8 speed in the 100 meters. I mean, he'll make you miss in a phone booth. This is against St. Joe's Prep at the end of the year, against some of the top players in the country.
Yeah, he's got great speed, great elusiveness. The thing I love most about him is just his competitive nature.
Yes.
Like, he competes in everything he does, and you know what? He's not happy, you know, if things aren't going well. You know, I mean, he wants to win more than anybody, and that's what we want here. You know, we want guys that want to win, want to compete. You know, and he, like I said, he's going to be a great one. You know, I mean, even at his high school, I mean, he broke all of Johan Dotson's records.
them.
You know, so that says something when you're breaking somebody who's in the NFL, breaking their records. So we're really, you know, thrilled. And, you know, I had a lot of connections to Mason. You know, I mean, I grew up in Alpha. You know, his grandfather was an Alpha guy. So I knew his whole family. You know, Coach Roeder knew some of the family. You know, just one of those good connections. And like I said, he's just a great person. Really excited to help.
And the thing about him is, you look at him first, you're like, well, he's a possession receiver. He's not. He can take the top off.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the speed to get away. He's got the speed. And then his football IQ, the IQ of both him and Kinney, they know the game so well, they're going to pick up your offense like that, and they're going to want to get in there and compete. Because you said, Mason's got that attitude, like, I belong here, I want to play. And I'm telling you, he's another kid that's going to be vying to get on the bus.
Yeah, and both of those guys had, you know, FBS offers.
Yes, they did.
And decided to stay home. And, you know, but you're right. I mean, he's going to be a matchup nightmare, you know, in the slot, out wide. So our job will be to put him in position to try and make plays.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, and I had a chance to watch him. So 2 great gets from the Valley. Always good to have local kids here and have the local kids, the right kids locally.
Right, yeah, because you want the kids to have a great experience.
Yep.
And so you want the most talented kids you can find in the Lehigh Valley to bring them here.
And you got 2 of the best right there. Let's move on to a quarterback right now. Jason Penza, number 2 out of Crystal Lake High School.
Yeah.
Crystal Lake, Illinois. Again, we've had two kids out of Illinois, 6'2", 190 pounds, great mobility. You know what? I watched him, and I thought I was watching Dean DeNoble in high school. I really did. The way he steps up in the pocket, drives the pocket, 2 hands. Great ability to throw the deep ball. What did you like about him?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, obviously his athleticism, he runs really well. You know, he's a 4.5, 40 kid. He's a 10.3, 100 kid. So, again, when you can find guys, and that's what Dean did, always extended plays. It gives you a chance when things break down. But, you know, he's a top 30 player in the state of Illinois. You know, he's a dual threat QB, just great arm strength, 6'2", 190. You know, not only is it, you know, he's a basketball player. You know, he took his football team his junior year, you know, they were the 6A state runner-up. So, yeah, I mean, he's really just dynamite, and is going to fit really well here in what we do. And, you know, like I said, you know, he went to Illinois to find one. So, yeah, he's amazing. Yeah,
wow.
So.
Some of the throws, I mean, he's dotting the I on a lot of these throws that, you know, watch him get out here. Boom. That's just that little burst right there, just to extend plays, get out. And that's what it's about nowadays. You got to have somebody with some mobility that maybe gives you an opportunity to dabble in the zone read, just show it, but has the ability to extend plays.
Absolutely, you know, and he'll be able to run some of the power read stuff and zone read stuff, and he'll make plays, and he's going to be a good one, and we're really excited to get him here.
Yeah, and again, he just fits right in. And how do you get on a kid from Crystal Lake? Is that just something like who first said, hey, I got a kid, everybody sit down, let's talk about Jason?
Yeah, I mean, once somebody's got him, you know, we sit down as an offensive staff and we start evaluating guys and we rank them. And he was just a guy that just really stood out on film, and TJ went out there to see him, and again, great kid. High school coach couldn't say enough about him, and a great family.
Another kid that had a lot of offers. He's going to come into a quarterback room, have a chance to learn, and then he's going to want to compete. So that's a great one. Let's move on to an offensive lineman, our last offensive player here that we're going to look at before we take a break. Christo Reinhardt from Langley High School in McLean, Virginia. 6'3", 290 pounds, got a lot of nasty in him, works to the second level, pulls really well. Good on inside out, I said. Again, keeps his hips and his shoulders square.
Yeah, he does, and he finishes blocks. I mean, you'll see he puts guys on the ground, and again, the physicalness.
Wow.
The one thing that we talk about here as we've tried to become better at running the football is that physical toughness and getting after guys.
Yep.
You know, and offensive linemen are allowed to do that, not just defensive linemen. But again, much like a lot of the guys, he's a team captain. You know, he played both ways. He didn't come off the field. You know, he's an all-district kid. You know, an all-state kid, or all-region kid.
Right
you
here,
know,
inside out. Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, he's a physical kid.
Strong at the point of attack too. Good strong hands.
Yep. Yeah, and comes from, again, you know, you get his family here on the visit, and they're just great people, and you know, he's excited to be a Leopard, and that, you know, we talk about that all the time, Coach. Like we want guys who want to be here. Like that's really important, you know, because if you're going to have success, you got to have guys who are invested in this place and want to see it do well. So
there's hundreds of kids you fall in love with, but they're not the right kid. Maybe they don't fit.
Exactly.
Or when you get them here on campus, maybe that feel's not here. They're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. So it's so important. Like I said, it's got to be a match on both sides.
Yeah, and we don't want to bring kids here who want to leave. You know,
That's
I mean,
right.
you know, because it
Especially
doesn't help
nowadays
us
with the portal and the NIL and all that stuff.
And we've been fortunate we're not dealing in that a lot. So. You know, we'll bring in a kid here or there. You know, we brought in Thomas Grippo last year. We'll talk about another young man here in a minute that we're bringing in, but we're not living in the portal world yet.
Right, and you need some of that depth at the offensive line. You're going to lose Mike Barr, obviously. You're going to lose Olmstead, those two guys, and they were a big part of last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Great. Okay, well, we're going to take a break right now. We will be back with the defensive players on that side. You're going to be excited to see them. A lot of speed, a lot of length. We'll be right back with head coach John Troxell.
Curtis to the 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, he's gone! That will be a touchdown for Lafayette, 71 yards!
Lafayette College has nearly 30,000 alumni. That's a lot of spots on our collective Leopard. Each of those spots is like a doorway to new connections and opportunities. Gateway Link helps get those spots together. Gateway Link is the exclusive career network to the Lafayette family. It is the place for alumni to alumni and alumni to student networking and mentoring. Tap into the power of the Lafayette network. Join Gateway Link today.
Welcome back to Signing Day Central here on the campus of Lafayette College, and we are in the beautiful locker room. I mean, when kids come on campus, you got to sell the locker room too. This place is amazing, John.
Yeah, you know what? We have one of the best facilities in all of FCS football, and we're blessed, and we know it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I think it does wow kids when they get here.
Yeah, and you excited such a fan base. You're bringing guys back. Let's talk for a minute about that. Bringing guys back, bringing the alums back. Myself, all my friends, everybody calling, going, "What's going on?" I mean, they're 9-2. They're going to the playoffs. I mean, it's first time in 10 years. You're exciting a lot of people, and that's the goal.
Yeah, it is. You know, we need more guys to come back. You know, I mean, obviously we need help, and you know, where we want to get to, we still haven't gotten there yet. But clearly, we're not where we were, but we're not where we need to be yet.
You set a high bar too, John.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. You know,
Exactly.
And again, you know, we've been able to hold on to our staff for the most part. We lost our D-line coach to New Mexico.
Yep.
But you know, 9 of the other guys are still here, and again, they want to be here. You know, and they're doing a great job. You know, I can't say enough about our staff.
Yep, and it takes a village. So let's throw a couple pictures up, John. Just give me your impressions. The first thing you think about when you see that right there.
Man, you know what? One, it was a great day, and two, when you have your athletic director and president supporting the program the way they do, just incredible. And then you look at our team, you know, just look at the smiles on their face, all the hard work they put in. You know, a year ago at this time, most people thought, those guys stink, you know, but, you know, it just goes to show, you know, commitment to each other and hard work really pays off.
And they're all pointing to their finger, John. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants a ring, you know. I mean, they, you know, I told them when I got here, I said, we're not going to have any banquets until we win something, you know. There's nothing to celebrate if you're a 4-7 team. And so they quickly turned that around real fast, so we're going to have a banquet.
They wanted a banquet, they want their rings, and they deserve it. I mean, they were all together. It was a total team effort. So much fun to watch and exciting. Let's move on to the defense, okay? Everybody's excited about seeing what we're bringing in there, the athletic ability of those kids. We've always had a dominating defense from a standpoint of rushing the passer. Been huge. We're going to talk about that. Linebackers, we want to replace some of those defensive backs you talk about. Let's talk about a defensive end right now, Oliver Kamerlin out of McCallie School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Big, tall, 6'6", 260 pounds. Love the way he gets off the ball. Great hand placement. What did you guys like about Oliver?
Yeah, wait till you see him. One, he is just an excitable kid. He loves football.
Wow.
You know, when you're that big and you're that athletic, you know, he's going to create a ton of problems for opposing quarterbacks. But he's physical again, and you know, he's from the Quebec area.
Yep.
You know, he was the defensive lineman of the year up there when he was at Charles Lemoyne. Then he ended up at the McCallie School in Tennessee, and we found him down there.
1 year at the McCallie School?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah, and you know, we were really fortunate to get this guy. I mean, like I said, you know, the defensive line wasn't a huge priority for us this year because of what we're returning, but obviously we weren't going to pass up on a guy like this, you know, who can create, you know, again at 6'6", 260 and athletic. Hard to pass up on that.
Yeah, it's like the draft. You have to have, you know, and you guys have people in place doing this right now, finding these kids. And, you know, it's like you're kind of drafting kids and trying to replace kids, and then you got to get the right kids. And, you know, Oliver fits that bill. What come around the edge here? He replaces, goes in the way he came out. I mean, really, those are things you look for.
Yeah, and, you know, obviously Coach Wilkins had a chance to coach him at camp, I believe, and, you know, really just fell in love with him. Yeah,
I love his hand placement. Like I said, strong bull. He's got a great get off. I mean, he's gonna fit in. He's just a big kid. He's probably going to get bigger, 6'6", 260 pounds.
Yeah. Coach Saint and the defensive guys are going to love working with him for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to a linebacker here. I love the way Garrison Cockrell runs out of Cedar Park, Texas, Cedar Park High School, 6'3", 211 pounds, 210 pounds. This is a position you guys need to kind of really build up here now.
Yeah, you know, losing Billy, Marco, again, not having a ton of depth, this was a real priority for us.
Right.
You know, Garrison, you know, he's a all Austin Metro kid, all Central Texas, you know, unanimous first team all district. I mean, he is a player. You know, he's physical, he runs extremely well, and he's got that length of a guy like Billy Schaefer, you know. And, so he's got a great football IQ. You know, and he's going to be a guy that you can put him in man coverage to cover running backs and tight ends, and
he's got the length. Boy,
he'll do a great job.
He changes direction so well for a big kid. Look at his hips right here. Boom. I mean, he's playing a slot receiver right there in the red zone, and then he can. This is where I see him next year. He's running down on kickoff for you.
He might be.
At Buffalo. He's that type of kid. I mean, he's exceptional. Plays with a lot of passion too.
He does, and again, when you get a chance to meet him, you just, you know, again, he's just a great kid. I mean, and I keep saying about all of them, but you know, I say this to the guys all the time, right? Once you get here, you know, you're going to be part of a family, and you know, you're going to be at these guys' weddings, and you're going to be at their funerals, and he's going to be, you know, one of those guys who's going to be a great teammate.
Yeah, you can see the passion in your heart too, because when you find the right kid and the mesh is there, you get excited about that from different standpoints. Not just the fact that he's playing on the field, but he's going to graduate from here. He's going to get an education. He's going to go on to have a family and do great things, and he's going to represent you and the school really well. And that's the type of kid Garrison is. He's got passion all over. And I tell you, he reminds you a little bit of Marco, the same passion, the same excitement, and we saw that from Marco for 5 years.
Yeah, and Marco had a great career.
Yep. Okay, let's move on. We're going to talk about Kevin Dodard right now.
Yeah.
Okay, this is All Saints Episcopal High School, again in Texas, 5'11", 175 pounds, ball hawk. That's what I wrote, ball hawk.
Yeah, he does a lot, you know, and he's not just a safety, you know, he's a return guy. You know, again, he was all-state in basketball and football. Yeah, what does that say? I mean, about teammates, unselfish, you know, and thinks about other guys on his team. But being all-state in 2 sports, you know, he's a big play ability. You know, he led the nations in interceptions as a junior.
Wow.
And again, he's got great speed and just a tremendous kid. Comes from an unbelievable family. A little fun fact: he's a twin. His brother Doug.
He's a twin.
Yeah. So his brother.
His brother plays football as well.
Does. Yep.
Okay.
Going to Navy.
Oh wow.
So, but they're just a great family.
And watch him strip here. Pulls it out.
Yep.
He's got a great feel for the game. To me, it looks like the game slows down for him. It's like the game comes easy to him. Like he's never doing anything like, he's always in the right position, got great feet, got great hips, but the game seems to slow down for him a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's a credit to, you said it before, guys with football IQ who understand what's going on out there and can get the game to slow down and make plays.
Like you said, first team all district. I think he could play corner or safety. Where do you guys see him right now?
We see him as a safety.
A safety?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, in the time where we're going to lose guys like Sekou and Ryan, you know. And, you know, he's a guy who also could, you know, be a nickel for us, you know, and step into that role.
Right away. And you can see his ability on special teams right there.
Yes.
And that's always good to see. Okay, let's move on to another corner here. Ryan Gadsden, number 3 out of Bishop Verrat. I think I'm saying that right? Bishop Verrat in Fort Myers, Florida, 5'11", 170. Really smooth. I love watching defensive backs. Smooth, reads well, breaks, good change of direction. What did you like about Ryan?
Yeah, you hit it. You know, good change of direction, short area burst, physical. I mean, I think you'll see here, you know, him come off and be physical. You know, you always want corners that aren't afraid to tackle. You know, and you know, he brings cover. You know, he's got great cover skills, but again, physicality. You know, so he's really dynamic in both the run, you know, and the pass. So can play man to man. You know, and again has really, really good speed.
And good competition. You can see him throwing it up there right now, showing you who he played against.
Yeah, he played against a lot of guys that are going to the FBS, and you know, he's going to have a great career here, and you know, expecting him to come in and compete right away.
Yeah, he's got great hips. Again, finding the football is so big. Some guys can run, and you see it, you know, in the NFL last 2 weeks ago that the corner went up for the football, hit him right in the face mask, and then the guy, and you know, Ayuk makes the catch. Some guys can run, they can do it all, but the ball skills maybe are not up to par. But these kids seem to know, you know, they probably play offense as well. They got good ball skills, and right there, a guy like Ryan, he shows you that right off the bat.
Yeah, ball's in the air, he's going to go get it. So.
Ball hawks, great job. You guys play a corner, a field corner, and a boundary corner still?
We do. Yeah.
So I think he could play either one.
Yeah, and that may change going into the future. You know, we've talked about that, but right now that's what we do.
Yeah, and you get AT. Let's talk about AT for a second. You get AT and Tang coming back. I saw him at the Lehigh game, still recovering from obviously the injury, the internal injury. But he's got to be ready and chomping at the bit to come back.
He's doing great. Yeah, he just got clearance, so he's back training hard. Awesome. He's ready to go. He's excited to be back, you know. And it was a shame because he was having a great year.
Oh, he was having a phenomenal year.
And you just hated to see his senior year end that way. So you give him another chance at it, you know, and be a part of the celebrations on the field again.
Great family, too. I met his family under the stands. I was going back up, and I gave him a big hug, and he was so excited to say hello to me. And it's good to have him coming back. And, you know, we missed him a little bit down the stretch, a little bit.
Sure we did, Gave other guys a chance, so opportunity, right? You got to be ready when your opportunity comes. And, you know, but he was in bad shape there for a while. So, you know, we're really glad that he's healthy and ready to go.
Thank God. Yep, knock on wood. Let's go on to another corner here. A transfer. Kid coming in here from App State, Tony Harris, Providence High School, Charlotte, North Carolina, 5'9", 160 pounds, pure corner, got great hips. I loved him. What did you like about him, and how did you get Tony here?
So, I mean, we went into the transfer portal and found him. Again, with not knowing what AT was going to do, and, you know, we had lost a couple of corners. The depth was not great, so obviously it was a priority for us to bring in corners this year because, again, when you fast forward a year, we really don't have anybody. So it's great. We have, you know, Tony's on campus. You know, you watch him, you watch him run and you watch him lift, and he is going to be a great fit for us. He's got great speed. You know, again, he was an all-state kid, an all-conference kid like most guys. But, you know, he brings, you know, experience and depth, which the experience part you just can't replace. You know, he's been in a college program for 2 years. He's already developed a little bit, and, you know, and it's going to be fun to watch him compete against, you know, AT and Gabe.
Yeah, and Lafayette, we don't do this a lot. I mean, we get a couple transfers a year, a couple kids here or there. It's not like we're loading up like some other teams do, but Tony seems to fit the bill, and he's got to be the right type of kid, and he seems like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, right, I mean, you know, it was an area of need, and that's why we did it. You know, like one of the things I say even in recruiting, we don't want to be a portal place. We want to develop kids.
Right.
We don't want kids to come in and jump ahead of guys that have invested in the program.
Absolutely.
But this was an area where we clearly were depleted in terms of depth.
And Tony can fill that spot. And again, having him, how important is it to have him here on campus for the spring semester?
Oh yeah, I mean,
he'll be competing in spring ball.
Yeah, and he'll get to learn, and
Yep.
it'll give him a huge advantage going into next season.
Exactly. And and I saw Meade down at the diner downtown just over the weekend, and he was looking at some kids and talking, and he has done a phenomenal job. Him and Jeff Sejour. Talk about that secondary. That whole staff on the other side, but those two secondary guys, because I, myself, and you, we look at that a little bit tighter because we were both DBs.
Yeah, and honestly, they're both just great technically, you know,
Yes.
in teaching. And you know, when you get guys that can teach and get guys to understand what they're doing, you know, again, you get the game to slow down real quick.
Yep.
But again, so much of it is technique when you're out on an island
It
out there.
absolutely is.
So you know, Jeff and me do a great job.
Yeah, false steps, you can't have those. There's not with the speed that offense is put out there, and the amount of motion and everything that goes on. I don't know. It'd be tough nowadays for me to do it, but to watch the job they did, you got to be proud of them. Let's move on to another safety here. Dante, am I saying that? Jackson?
Yep. Oh,
at
yeah.
DeMatha High School. We had a kid out of DeMatha last year. You can talk about that a little. 5'11", 185 pounds. Perfect safety. I assume that's where you're going to play him.
Absolutely, you know, and Dante comes from the WCAC, where he was an all-conference performer. You know, we talk about the WCAC being one of the top conferences in the country, but he is fast and violent. You know, and again, yeah, he comes from Rob Stevens High School, DeMatha, which is one of the better programs, you know, in the country. But he's a playmaker, and he's just a football player in everything that he does. And again, he has a great football IQ. You know, if you get him on the board, he's able to talk the game already. So
that's nice.
He's been coached hard, and you know, and that's not every high school, you know, doesn't coach their kids really hard. But he's one of those kids.
Wow.
And yeah, he throws his body around pretty good.
He does.
So he is a dynamite get, and will be a great player here. And again, to be able to learn from Sekou and Orion, you know, he'll be able to add a lot of depth to our
he
back
reads
end.
so well. I have great acceleration, good straight line speed, good hips as well. It's hard to find that match, good hips and straight line speed. It's either one or the other, but he seems to have both. And I wrote, he reminds you of Sekou.
Yeah.
He reminds you of Sekou White, the way he can come downhill but still play in the secondary. Sekou was so good this year in his open field coverage read type things. He made the pick down at Georgetown, which is a huge play. He made the pick at Lehigh, which completely changed the game right there. This is that type of kid. They both play with no fear.
Absolutely. Yeah, you watch him run to the ball. There's no hesitation. He's full speed all the way.
Yeah. And you're going to get Robert back, correct? Robert Stevens.
We are. So yeah, Rob obviously got hurt in the Duke game, so he'll be back for the season. He won't be in spring ball because he's still rehabbing the knee.
Right.
But again, expecting big things out of Rob. I mean, he was dynamite. You know, going into
yes, he was. I know
those
how
first couple
excited
games.
you were about that.
Yeah.
And creating a pipeline to DeMatha, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Excited about Dante Jackson, defensive back out of DeMatha in Hyattsville, Maryland. We have a corner here, Xavier Johnson, number 11 out of Muscle Shoals. I'm not sure where that is in Alabama, but you reached all the way down to Alabama. 5'10", 170, great hips. I have exceptional ball skills and competes for the football.
Yeah, exceptional ball skills. I mean, you'll see on tape that he's got incredible vertical jump to go up and get balls. He's got great body control. He's got great speed. You know, just again, a kid who can make an impact in being able to play man to man just because of his ability to with his hips and his ability to run. You know, and again, you see him here in special teams. You know, he's also a guy who has the ability to return as well. So we're really excited about him.
All state in Alabama, all region, right? Selected
I mean,
for the Alabama Mississippi.
Alabama Mississippi All-Star game. Yeah,
Wow.
which is a heck of an honor to be in.
It is. Look at him go up there.
Yeah, he's got great ball skills, like some of the best we've seen.
That's fun to watch. And like I said, and when the ball's in the air, he's got his eyes focused back. He's got the ability to play some bump. Got the length to make that play on the slant, and then the length to get his head around and make the play on the fade. Those are two things. Usually you see a DB do one well, not the other, but he's got the length to do both of those.
Yeah, and we're excited to get him up here. You know, first time getting on a plane was coming to Lafayette. So
that's happened a few times in the last couple of years,
no
right?
doubt. But yeah, to be able to find a guy from Alabama, who can impact our program is really, really good.
One of the first players I think we've had out of Alabama, correct? Did we have anybody? I don't remember.
So Isaiah Ambrose is on our team.
Okay, Isaiah, right,
is an Alabama kid.
Yep. Not bad when you get a kid out of Alabama.
And then
right?
Troy Bruce is an Alabama
Troy,
kid.
yep.
But
Troy was good this year.
Yeah, he had a great year as a freshman. But he'll tell you he's from Louisiana. So I can't
well,
figure it out.
I remember that,
So
yeah.
he was in Louisiana, then in Alabama.
Okay.
So I think he considers himself a
Well, when you make the
Louisiana guy.
Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game and the North-South game, and these are all things that Xavier did, he's, again, a great get. You're filling up the secondary. I love it. Let's move on to a defensive lineman. Again, it wasn't a big area for you guys, but you picked up one or two here. And tell me a little bit about Dominic Salvatelli at a Lawrence Academy in Groton, Mass. Big kid, 6'2", 270, tenacious, right? I mean, up front, works his butt off.
He does. I mean, he's got a great motor. I mean, you'll see, he gets off the ball. He's got great short area quickness for a big guy. He can chase things down. He's physical. Again, a guy who was a two-way player, so you can see it both offensively and defensively. Yep. But again, when you can get big guys that can run as well as he does, it's hard to pass him up because, I think when we talk about building our team, it starts inside at the DT positions and then and work your way out to corner. And so it was really important for us.
I like to see kids like here because I don't know if you're looking to play him more inside as a 3, but he shows you what he can do lining up on the edge as well, and that's important to see his foot quickness. It's tough sometimes to see a 3-tech work, but he can do both.
He'll be an inside guy, but
right.
Again, you can see that you're not going to have to take him out. He can rush the passer, and he'll still do a great job inside creating pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, I like Dominic. I think he's going to be a presence inside, and defensive line room, you may not have enough playbooks to hand out because there's some players up there.
We'll have enough. We keep rolling them.
No, you keep rolling them.
Rolling.
And that was, I think, a key. You bring up a great point. And Gary talked about this on the air. Being able to roll kids through and keep them fresh was huge. Having 2 or 3 waves of kids coming in, so Jalen 5 or 6 plays at full speed, boom, come back in. That was huge for you.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And we'll play as long as guys are ready. We'll play as many as we can at every position. And even when we were talking about like our offensive line, we had an extra lineman playing all the time in terms of Shearer and Reed Collins. Splitting time at tackle, so that if somebody went down, you had someone with game experience, and you weren't going to take a step back. Fortunately for us, our O-line stayed intact all year.
Healthy.
Yeah,
was huge.
Success, health has a lot to do with it.
It has a lot to do with it, and they were phenomenal. Let's move on. We're going to finish up with a linebacker and then a defensive back. Let's talk about Paul Weiderman out of Reidsville High School, Reidsville, North Carolina. Nasty linebacker. He's got pipes. He's huge. He can run. He shows it off, and this kid can really play out of Carolina.
Yeah, when you talk about looking for linebackers, you always like guys that are also tailbacks. That can carry the ball, and but he is violent. He is your inside linebacker that you're looking for. I mean, he chases the ball down. He plays sideline to sideline, but he also has that size and physicality to play downhill as well. So he will bring just.
What a close there! Wow.
Yeah, he's gonna bring just a great presence to our linebacking room.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he was an early get for you, right?
He was.
He's been committed for a while.
Yeah,
and
since the summer. Yeah, he's been up here a bunch of times. We're just up here on his visit, and stayed committed to us. And like I said, he'll be an impact player for us, and especially in a room where we have needs for depth.
Yes, absolutely. You lose Marco. So you got to have a kid step in there. You're going to need the depth as well. You're going to get Preston Forney back.
Yep.
So that's Paul fits right into that mold, and I love the way he finishes tackles. Like everybody talks about total tackles, but you got about solos and assists. A lot of he finishes one-on-one in the hole really well.
He does, and everything goes backward. So
yes, backwards, correct.
And again, that has to do with his. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, 220 pounds, whatever he is.
He reminds me of some of the old school linebackers, like an Andy Roman, Schmidline. We're not putting him there yet, but he reminds me of those type of kids. The way he plays downhill, the size, the weight train coming in. I mean, he's got all those accolades right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a football kid, loves the game, and
he's impressive up close too.
Oh yeah,
right?
Oh yeah, yeah, he is. So he's put together.
And he likes to show it off, which I love. So come in here, and Paul's going to do well. Paul Weiderman right there. I wrote down Andy Romans. I wrote down Raw. You remember Raw Howard? These guys that were just bigger than life.
Yep.
I mean, great players. Let's move on to our last player here, a defensive back. I have wide receiver written down too. Donovan Williams, number 6 out of Ravenscroft High School, right?
Yep.
Holly Springs, North Carolina, 6'2", 200. I saw him making plays on both sides. I know I think bringing him in as a defensive back, but this kid is talented.
Yeah, he is, and he's got great size. I mean, he's 6'1", 210. can run. You know, we're going to transition him to safety. He was a really good high school wide receiver as well. But you know, he comes from a great lineage too. You know, his dad played at UNC. His uncle, Derek Williams, played at Penn State and in the NFL for the Lions for 3 years.
Oh my.
So, you know, we're really excited. You know, he's also a guy who could grow out of being a safety. You know, and move into the bandit spot, outside linebacker. But we're going to start him at safety, and he gives you, again, some versatility in some of your sub packages as well.
He's got fluid hips, Coach. I mean, he plays the corner, plays the safety position. He's a good blitzer, which is huge. Some guys don't know how to blitz. He blitzes well. Good closing ability, I wrote down. He competes. All Big East IFC up there in that area in North Carolina. I mean, that's a kid, like I said, I always look kind of speculate, push the kids forward, but he's a kid who has the size and speed and the length to compete. We talk about that so often. You know, I look at in the Delaware game, you look at some of the kids, they have the length, you know what I mean? That type of thing. You know, when you're in the secondary, you're going up against a big kid, and their catch radius is huge. You've got to be able to compete at that level and be able to show what you can do with that radius.
Yeah, and he's just scratching the surface. I mean, when we develop him and get him bigger and stronger, and, he's going to be a fantastic football player.
Good. Okay, well, that's all we have offensively and defensively. Let's talk real quick for a minute about what's coming ahead, maybe some of the more, not the kids particularly, but there's going to be more.
Yeah, so we're at 26 kids committed right now in our program, and one transfer, which gives us 27. Those kids we can't announce until they deposit.
Correct.
Because they're not scholarship athletes, but they're really good football players.
Yes,
and we're really excited about that group too. And you know, you always talk about when you want to have success as a football program, it's sometimes not necessarily about your best players, but about your team players and about guys who can make an impact. And I'm telling you this, like those guys that are coming in that we're not announcing today, they're going to be fighting to become scholarship players like Ryder Langsdale and Dean DeNoble and Sekou White, and having guys in our program who have earned scholarships also gives kids incentive to want to be here and prove themselves. So, but there's some really good football players too. So we'll be at 26 when all is said and done, maybe 27, 28. So we'll keep going.
Still hanging out there.
So we do, and like I said, it's been a lot of fun, a great class. The staff did a great job, and we're really excited about what we're bringing in.
And now 2025 starts. You start looking at the juniors, have those guys come in. You have your camps this summer. It's so exciting. That's a fantastic class, and it just builds on what you've done. This is year 3, coming into year 3. You're already into year 3, but this class just builds that foundation, and it gets the roster size where you need it to practice when it comes to October and November.
Yeah, and we'll be at 100 this year, so which will be huge. So I think the first year, we were, by the time we had injuries, we were at like 83.
Right.
So it creates problems. So
which is still a lot more than it used to be. I mean, I saw us down in the 60s prior to you getting here, where it was just difficult to practice.
Yeah. And if you're going to compete with some of the FBS programs going down to Duke, you need depth, you need size, and we have some great games coming up. You know, we're at Buffalo next year, the year after. You know, we open up at Bowling Green. We have UConn, Air Force, Akron. You know, we have some good ones coming up. So want to make sure we're put the kids in great position to have a chance to win those games.
And that first half of Duke, I think, set the tone where the kids said, hey, they put their pants on the same way we do. We move forward. I thought that first half at Duke and a couple of calls here or there, but that was a good football game, and I think that I think that set the tone. For the rest of the out-of-league season.
I agree with you. You know, it was definitely a marker for how good we could be if we do the right things, and the kids played hard.
Yeah, and looking ahead to the 2024 season, start with 4 of the first 5 away. Can't be a problem. Can't talk about it. Be a couple road warriors. You finish the season with 3 of the last 4 on the road because the Lehigh's game is going to be switched over so that we can have the 25-26 game here to celebrate the college's anniversary. So you're going to be on the road a little bit next year.
Yeah, just got to be road warriors. Again, you know, I mean, we've been on the road and we've won many games on the road. So I think the kids like being in all white, so it'll make them excited.
And 2 of those games are in New York, so it's not far. You're going to be at Columbia and Fordham back to back. Yeah. So it's not too far. But
Monmouth isn't far. Bucknell's not far. So there's some close away games. So.
And excited to get it going. Thank you so much for a couple minutes. This has been fantastic.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, I know. No, we have a lot of fun. It's my favorite day of the year. It really is. I watch these kids. You send me the stuff up front. I look at these kids. I love watching them. I love evaluating them. And you and I, we're on the same page. We see the same things because we work the same way. So I appreciate a couple minutes, and thanks to you and your staff.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, and excited for the next season.
Great, absolutely. This has been Signing Day Central here on the campus of Lafayette College. Signing off from the Burger Varsity Football House for head coach John Troxell here at Lafayette, the reigning Patriot League Coach of the Year. Got some great things to look at. Go back, look at the GoLeopards.com, get on Lafayette website and check it out. We'll rerun this broadcast. We were live here, and it was so exciting to see the kids coming on campus, and one of them's already here for spring football. But before you know it, we'll be back in pads. Thanks so much for joining us again here on the Lafayette Sports Network.